Tolkien's world has gone through several ages, each marked by significant events and changes that shape the course of Middle-earth's history. But how did each age transition into the next?
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Understanding these transitions will not only enhance our appreciation of Tolkien's storytelling, but also provide deeper insight into the world he created. So today I plan to focus on how each age transitioned into the next, with special attention to the dramatic and pivotal shifts, especially from the first to the second age. So let's jump into this. Before I start, for you 75% who have not subscribed to the channel but you are enjoying what you see, please consider hitting that button because it would massively help me out. But now, the story of Middle-earth begins with the Ainulindalë, the music of the Ainur, which is the creation myth of Tolkien's world. Iluvatar, the supreme deity, God, brought forth the Ainur, immortal spirits, and together they created the great music that shaped the universe. This music, however, was marred by the discord of Melkor, the most powerful of the Ainur, who sought to dominate the creation with his own vision. Despite Melkor's attempts to disrupt the harmony, Iluvatar incorporated these discordant themes into the grand design, resulting in a world of rich complexity and depth. This world, Ea, included the realm of Arda, where Middle-earth is located. The Ainur who chose to enter Ea became the Valar and the Maiar, powerful beings who shaped and governed the world. The Valar, led by Manwë, began to shape Arda according to the vision set forth in the music of the Ainur. They created the two lamps, Iluin and Ormel, to light the world. However, Melkor destroyed these lamps, plunging Arda into darkness and causing the Valar to retreat to the land of Aman in the far west. There, they established the realm of Valinor and created the two trees, Telperion and Lorelin, which brought light to their new home. In the darkness of Middle-earth, the Valar awaited the coming of the firstborn, the Elves. When the Elves awoke at Cuiviénen, they were discovered by Arome, a Valar who loved Middle-earth. The Valar decided to summon the Elves to Aman to protect them from the influence of Melkor, who was still at large. Many elves answered the call and undertook the great journey to Aman. These elves became the Vanyar, Noldor, and Teleri. However, some elves chose to remain in Middle-earth, becoming known as the Avari. In Aman, the elves flourished, learning from the Valar and creating many beautiful things, which would include things like the Silmarils crafted by Fëanor. After 3 ages of imprisonment, Melkor was released after having been captured by the Valar, who hoped he had now repented, truthfully. However, Melkor's heart remained dark, and he sowed discord among the elves, particularly the Noldor. His ultimate act of treachery was the destruction of the two trees and the theft of the Silmarils, plunging Valinor into darkness once more. Fëanor, driven by anger and grief, led the Noldor in rebellion against the Valar, swearing an oath to recover the Silmarils at any cost. This rebellion marked the beginning of the Noldor's long and tragic journey back to Middle-earth, setting the stage for the events of the First Age. The First Age, often referred to as the Elder Days, was a time of great heroism, epic battles, and devastating tragedies. It began with the Noldor returning to Middle-earth after the theft of the Silmarils by Morgoth. The First Age was defined by the relentless war of the Elves, particularly the Noldor, who waged it against Morgoth to reclaim those Silmarils and avenge their losses. Throughout this age, the Elves and their allies, including men who arrived in Beleriand, formed mighty alliances and fought legendary battles like the Dagor Bragollach, Battle of Sudden Flame, and the Nerneath Anodiad, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. Despite their valiant efforts, the Elves and their allies suffered great losses, and the shadow of Morgoth loomed large over Middle-earth. As the First Age progressed, Morgoth's influence spread across Middle-earth, and his power seemed insurmountable. Key events leading up to the War of Wrath include the Dagor Bragollach again, which was when Morgoth's forces broke the siege of Angband, leading to significant losses for the Elves and their allies. This battle highlighted the growing power of Morgoth and set the stage for further conflicts. And then of course as well the Nerneath Anodiad, one of the most devastating battles of the First Age, where the Union of Mithras, an alliance of elves, men and dwarves, was utterly defeated. The fallout from this battle led to further despair among the Free Peoples. The transition from the First Age to the Second Age was catalysed by the War of Wrath, a cataclysmic conflict that brought an end to Morgoth's dominion. This war was instigated by Eärendil the Mariner, who sailed to Valinor to plead for the aid of the Valar on behalf of both elves and men. His plea was heard, and the Valar, along with the Vanyar and the remaining Noldor in a man, launched a mighty host to Middle-earth. The War of Wrath was a devastating battle that lasted for decades, resulting in the near-total destruction of Beleriand. The forces of the Valar, led by Eonwë, the Herald of Manwë, confronted Morgoth's armies. Dragons, Balrogs, and countless orcs were unleashed by Morgoth, but they were ultimately defeated by the overwhelming power of the Host of the West. Morgoth himself was captured, his iron crown broken, and the Silmarils recovered. Morgoth was then bound with the chain of Ainur and cast into the void, bringing an end to his reign of terror. The devastation caused by the War of Wrath reshaped the geography of Middle-earth. Beleriand was submerged beneath the sea, and many of its inhabitants were forced to migrate eastward. This cataclysmic event set the stage for the Second Age, as new realms and powers rose from the ruins of the old. With the defeat of Morgoth, the First Age came to a close, and the world was forever changed. The lands of Beleriand were mostly submerged beneath the sea, and a new age began, the Second Age, and this was marked by the establishment of Númenor, a great island kingdom granted to the Edain, the men who had fought against Morgoth, as a reward for their valour. Alros, the half-elven son of Eärendil, became the first king of Númenor, marking the beginning of a long and storied lineage. And if you didn't know, Alros was the twin brother of Elrond, that same one who founded Rivendell. But anyway, Númenor flourished, becoming a powerful and advanced civilization. The Númenorians were blessed with long life and great wisdom, and their seafaring skills allowed them to explore much of the world. However, this prosperity also sowed the seeds for their eventual downfall. Meanwhile, the shadow of Morgoth lingered on in the form of his most loyal servant, Sauron. Sauron, who had fled and gone into hiding during the War of Wrath, began to rise in power once more. He sought to dominate Middle-earth, filling the power vacuum left by Morgoth's defeat. Sauron established himself in the land of Mordor, and began the construction of Barad-dûr, his dark tower. He seduced many elves, dwarves, and men with promises of power and knowledge, leading to that creation of the Rings of Power. Sauron forged the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom, intending to dominate all other ring-bearers and rule Middle-earth. However, his plan was thwarted when the elves, led by Gil-galad and Elrond, discovered his treachery and refused to submit. The conflicts and mechanisms of the Second Age culminated in the War of the Last Alliance, setting the stage now for the Third Age. The transition from the Second to the Third Age is marked by that downfall of Númenor. Over time, the Númenorians became increasingly powerful and prideful, eventually succumbing to the influence of Sauron, who had been captured and brought to Númenor as a prisoner. Sauron, using his cunning and deceit, corrupted the Númenorians, leading them to worship Morgoth and ultimately rebel against the Valar. This rebellion culminated in Ar-Pharazôn, the last king of Númenor, sailing to a man to claim immortality by force. In response, Eru Iluvatar intervened directly, sinking Númenor beneath the waves and reshaping the world once again, separating a man from the mortal lands. The survivors, led by Elendil and his sons Isildur and Anarion, fled to Middle-earth and established the kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor. The destruction of Númenor marked a significant shift in the balance of power in Middle-earth. The Númenorians who survived, known now as the Dunedain, brought their advanced knowledge and skills to Middle-earth, significantly influencing its cultures and politics. During the Second Age, Sauron sought to consolidate his power and control over Middle-earth. He forged the One Ring, pouring a significant portion of his own power into it, with the intent to dominate the other Rings of Power and their bearers. The elves, led by Celebrimbor, had created the Rings of Power with Sauron's guidance, but they were unaware of his true intentions. When Sauron put on the One Ring, the elves immediately sensed his treachery and hid the three rings. This led to open conflict, with Sauron unleashing his armies to subjugate Middle-earth. The elves, dwarves, and men formed alliances to resist him, culminating in that War of the Last Alliance. The final act of the Second Age was the War of the Last Alliance, where the elves and men united to confront Sauron. This war culminated in the siege of Barad-dûr and the defeat of Sauron, with Isildur cutting the One Ring from Sauron's fallen hand. However, the failure to destroy the ring set the stage for what would be the Third Age, where Sauron's influence would slowly return. That war had been a desperate struggle, with great losses on both sides. Gil-galad and Elendil were slain in the final battle, but their sacrifice allowed Isildur to sever the ring from Sauron's hand, temporarily vanquishing him. Despite this victory, the seeds of future conflict were sown, as Isildur now claimed the ring for himself instead of destroying it. The transition from the Third to the Fourth Age now would be marked by the War of the Ring, as depicted in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, of course. The discovery of the One Ring by Bilbo Baggins and its subsequent journey with Frodo Baggins to Mount Doom formed the crux of this transition. The Fellowship of the Ring, comprising representatives from the Free Peoples of Middle-earth, embarks on a quest to destroy the ring and defeat Sauron once and for all. The War of the Ring involved multiple fronts and numerous key battles, including the Battle of Helm's Deep, the Siege of Minas Tirith, and the battle before the Gates of Erebor. Heroes such as Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli and Gandalf played pivotal roles in these conflicts, leading the forces of good against Sauron's armies. The final significant confrontation was the Battle of the Black Gate, which served as a diversion to allow Frodo and Sam to reach Mount Doom. The destruction of the One Ring by Frodo and Sam, with the unintended help of Gollum, leads to the ultimate defeat of Sauron. Gollum's fall into the fires of Mount Doom while holding the ring ensures its destruction. Sauron's spirit is finally dispersed, and his power is utterly broken. The kingdoms of men, now under Aragorn's leadership, are restored, and the elves continue their departure to the Undying Lands. The Fourth Age is ushered in with the beginning of the dominion of men and the fading of the other races. The defeat of Sauron marked the end of an era of great turmoil and the beginning of a new age of peace and rebuilding. Aragorn's coronation as King Helesssart signalled the restoration of the kingdoms of Gondor and Arnor, uniting the realms of men and bringing stability to the region. With Sauron defeated, the Fourth Age represents a time of renewal and rebuilding for Middle-earth. The kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor are restored, and peace is established across the lands. The elves, dwarves and hobbits all begin to fade into the background as the Age of Men rises. The passing of the Ring-bearers to the Undying Lands signifies the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. The Fourth Age saw the reconstruction of cities and fortresses, the re-establishment of trade routes, and the flourishing of culture and knowledge. The elves' departure marked the end of their dominion in Middle-earth, while the dwarves retreated to their mountain strongholds and the hobbits remained in the Shire, away from the affairs of the larger world. And so, there we have it. The transition between the ages in Tolkien's Middle-earth are marked by monumental events that reshape the world and its inhabitants. From the cataclysmic battles of the First Age to the rebuilding efforts of the Fourth, each transition reflects the themes of change, renewal, and the struggle that ever exists between good and evil. Understanding these transitions enriches our appreciations for Tolkien's epic tales and really the timeless lessons that they impart. And I would also like to take a moment at the end of this video today to give you a quick update on The Guard, the short film that we are creating. Everything is going amazing. We have just shot Block 2 and the rest of it should hopefully be shot soon too. As always, it is all the money from our Patreon that is funding this. In essence, it is a no-budget production if you consider the large scale of film, but every pound that you give is a massive help to create an incredible story. I'm putting a couple of shots on screen now and some behind-the-scenes clips to kind of give you an idea of what's going on, so if you would like to help support it a little bit more to help push us over the line, then please check out our Patreon. Every little bit really helps. And with that now, it is time for my question of the day, which is, which age would you most like to witness? Or perhaps which age would you like to know more information and stories about? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. And now it is time to give a massive thank you to our patrons who continue to support the channel. You are all amazing. And if you have reached the very end of this video with me today and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It would massively help us out. And why not drop a like on the video as well? And with that, all I can say is, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.